Okay, here in this class we'll be demonstrating how to install Oracle software. Okay, first thing is where do you get the Oracle software? You know, you don't have to go to different sites, download.oracle.com with your proper OTN registration. You should be able to download the right version, 10G or 11G right version, and for given operating system, let's say you are using Windows or Linux or any other type of Unix, 32-bit, 64-bit, based on your operating system version, you should download the correct version of the software. And also, if you go to docs.oracle.com, you will see the corresponding installation guide. Please download that as well. You just read through and understand what are the requirements. In case of Linux, there are pre-setups which you need to do. For this class, I'm not going to go into details, but for the regular class and full class, we will be discussing each of those elements and make you practice them. But here it's just as meant to be an overview. I'm going to explain what are the different steps in install and what are the areas you need to look into it. Okay, now during the install, once you download the software and run installer, this demonstration is on Linux. Run installer, it will start the GUI and it's going to ask you a few interview questions, and you need to, once you supply the answers, it'll start the installation process. During the install questions, it's going to ask what is the instance name you want to give. As we just said in the previous classes, instance is nothing but a background process and system and storage structure, or sorry, the SGA together is called an instance, right? So you need to give a name to that instance, and also what is the database name you want to call, and where do you want to install this software, meaning this is all packaged as a CD or DVD or a zipped file currently available on a staging area, which you unzip and run the run installer. The run installer is going to copy from the staging area to the location where you give the Oracle home directory, or the directory where you are installing. Okay, and that's called as Oracle home, and this is going to be a environment variable in Linux. Similarly, you can also give in advanced setup, you can also give a database data file location, but in simple install, you probably will not be giving the data file locations. Okay, and as you can see in the next screen, in the front installs first screen, this is going to be the first screen, step one. It'll ask you whether you want to do a basic install or advanced install. What is the difference? Well, in the basic install, it'll ask you very few basic question and it completes the install. In advanced, you get chance to do few more things, like if it's a test database or production database, you want to give different passwords for sysman accounts, and you want to after the installation is done, whether you want to lock down some of the sample accounts, and whether you want to change character set up a product language, and set up some automated backups, and as well as do any other custom installation or run any scripts. So you could do all that in the advanced install, or you can even run just the software install and create the database later by choosing advanced install. But in basic install, it's all pre-packaged. It's one solution. So we already discussed you're going to need to give a Oracle home, and if there are going to be multiple Oracle products, the Oracle base will be the location where each one will branch off to its own homes. So here it's going to be our RDBMS home. Tomorrow you want to install some ERP or any particular client, or Oracle's J2E server, that can have its own Oracle home. Okay, now installation type, there are primarily Enterprise Edition, Standard Edition, and a Personal Edition. I'm going to explain that in detail in the regular classes, but here it's just the overview. So Enterprise Edition is the highest edition which you could try using it. Okay, so from this we'll go to the next screen. After that, the next step, what it's going to do is based on the parameters you have given, it's going to do run some pre-checks. The pre-checks on OS level, your CPU setting, your parameter settings for files and maximum files open, and how much temp memory you gave, how much var memory you gave. So all these things will be verified through their own pre-checks. If any one of them fails, you need to see what is the error which will be shown here, and if that particular error, you need to resolve it and rerun this process. You could choose to run this pre-checks before starting install to make sure all the setups are done. So I mentioned there is install guides for each platform type in docs.oracle.com. You could download and make sure all the steps which are described to set up before installs are done properly. Otherwise, you will be ending up with lots of problems in the pre-checks. Okay, so once you understand, if you're understanding this, we'll move on to the next topic, next step, which is configurations. Okay, so it'll ask whether you want to if you have Oracle account, if you have your company owns Oracle account, it'll have a customer identification number. You can tie up your Metalink account to this, so that way whenever you open a support ticket, they understand what is this database and what are you trying to do. They'll be able to help you better with pre-existing setup. Well, in most of my cases, I don't set up this because I personally want to give the details, and I have lots of databases. And once all the interview questions are over, it's going to tell you what are all it's going to install. If you don't like any one of them, you for choices to go back and select advanced and do a custom install where you can deselect or select the ones. But here it's all custom selected. Then once you say install, click button, it's going to install the software, in which there are few steps. The first step, it's going to copy the software from the staging area to your Oracle home. Then it will set up all the files, run the configuration files, and relink all the binaries and do a network setup configuration. Okay, so once this comes from 0% to 100%, that's when it's going to take a lot of time. Okay, in our case it's just a slide, so I'm going to move on. But in your case, this may take, based on your machine speed, anywhere from 10 minutes to 40 minutes. If you notice, the title has been changed from previous screens to Database Configuration Assistant. Earlier it was OUI, Oracle Universal Installer. So when you start a run installer starts with Oracle Universal Installer. But once you get all the details, once installed the Oracle software, it runs, basic install runs Database Configuration Assistant, which is trying to create your sample database, or the database where you're going to do your development activity. Then after the database created, it goes back to Oracle Universal Installer, and it does a couple of other configuration setups, which are automatically sets up net configuration for you to connect from different clients and local client, and also it does some of the other database configurations. Okay, in Database Configuration Assistant, you could choose to change the passwords for sys and system and other sample accounts, and or you could leave all of them as one single if your the whole purpose is to learn. So this is the screen where you will see the password management. If you want, you can give different passwords, or you can lock some of these accounts which are not going to use it. Once this step is completed, it'll come back with end of installation. Here in my screens, I've completed this screen, and it'll give me some of the log messages, and I can exit from the screen and test my installation.